Have you ever loaded a website only to see a stark white page with black text jammed into the top left corner? It feels broken. That happens because you're only seeing the site's HTML. HTML builds the raw structure. Think of it like a newly constructed house. You have the wooden framing, the drywall, and the exposed pipes. A house in that state is functional. The roof keeps the rain out. But without paint on the walls, flooring, or furniture, it isn't a place you'd actually want to live. Web pages work the same way. Staring at an unstyled, bare-bones list of links and text is a confusing and unpleasant experience for anyone trying to use it. To make a structural space welcoming and usable, it requires an intentional layer of design. That is the role of CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and it acts as the official interior designer of the internet. It takes those raw structural elements and applies aesthetic rules. It brings in warm colors, chooses readable typography, and adds comfortable spacing between paragraphs. While HTML builds the walls of the website, CSS is responsible for making that space beautiful and easy to navigate. Every CSS rule follows a simple syntax, acting as a strict set of direct orders handed to the web browser. Every instruction begins with the selector, pointing to the specific element you want to change. Next is the property, defining exactly which feature to modify. Finally, the value gives the exact setting. In this case, we make the color red. Combining these three parts, the selector, and next the property, and finally the value, creates a complete CSS rule that the browser can easily follow. These rules are just a series of logical sentences that tell the web browser exactly how to paint the page. CSS also handles the physical layout of the page. Without these rules, text naturally crams itself against the far left edge of your screen. We fix this with text alignment, telling the browser to slide the text to the center. Then, spacing rules like margins and padding add breathing room, pushing elements apart so they don't crash. It is exactly the same principle as centering a rug in your living room or pulling a heavy sofa away to open the space up. To keep the code perfectly organized, developers often add hidden notes called comments. These are personal reminders written in the code that the browser skips over. Adding these spacing and layout rules makes a cluttered page look professional and easy to read. As a website grows, the scale becomes a challenge. Imagine having to manually update the design of every single page on a massive website by hand, one at a time. If you had to update design changes individually on a massive website with thousands of pages, it would take months of tedious work. This is why CSS is so efficient. Because all your design rules are kept in one central document, you can swap a color from blue to green once, and the entire site updates instantly. By separating the structure of the site from its visual design, web development becomes incredibly fast and easy to maintain. HTML builds the structural bones of your site, while CSS takes over as the interior designer. To write a styling rule, you only need three parts: a selector to target the element, a property to choose the feature, and a value for the change. You now understand the core mechanics of how plain text becomes a vibrant, professional website. In our next lesson, we will explore how to master CSS selectors to give you total control over your designs.